Number 5 on this list is the Jinn, an ancient demon whose main method of attacking people was to trick them. History Collection says the Jinn, or Jinn of Arabic and Islamic mythology, closely matched the original classic daemon or demon. Neither good nor evil, the Jinn were supernatural spirits born of smokeless fire long before the creation of humanity. The Jinn were spiritual beings, formless shapeshifters with magical powers who are ranked somewhere between humans and angels. They were not immortal and humans could kill them. However, a long lifespan compensated them for these disadvantages. In Persian mythology, the Jinn had their own land, Jinnistan, whose capital was the City of Jewels. However, the Jinn also haunted the human world, with favorite places of residence being the desert as well as rivers, wells, and even marketplaces. In this sense, they are very much like the Roman geniloshi spirits of place, and it was customary to ask the local Jinns permission before drawing water or even traveling into alien territory. If they appeared before humans, the Jinn could appear as animals, monsters, or people. Whatever form they took, people could quickly identify them by their flaming eyes, which were also vertical rather than horizontal. This unusual attribute gave the Jinn a sinister appearance that married well with some of their more suspect traits. For although the Jinn could be helpers, they were also known to be malicious tricksters. In the worst scenarios, they would raise storms and cause disease, insanity, and death. Islam teaches that every human has an evil Jinn whose sole purpose is to tempt its human opposite into evil. This reputation for malevolence is compounded by the fact the chief Jinn, Iblis, is also known as Azazel, the Islamic devil. So yeah, I don't think summoning these guys is the best plan. You could literally release a massive disease on your whole city or something like that. Also, you need to be extremely mentally stable and strong to not get tricked by these evil things into doing something that you don't want to do. Speaking as a pretty gullible individual, this would really not be a good idea for me. Number 4 on this list. So the man gets into the park, and just to the left of him is this completely demonic looking spider creature. It's slow out of the gate, but then it starts coming after him. The final 10 seconds of the video is going to show this thing get really close to him and then spit what looks to be some green toxic fluid out at him. Let's roll that now. So yeah, let's put it this way. Whatever this thing was, it definitely isn't human or any sort of animal that we're aware of. Now, can I say for sure that it's a demon? No, I can't, but I can say that it definitely looks very dangerous. Watch your back, everybody. This thing came after this dude in broad daylight in the park. Number 3 on this list is Baylor. Baylor was said to be the chief of a demonic tribe in Celtic culture. He and this tribe threatened the Celtic people with death and destruction constantly. It was also a pretty actionable threat because Baylor was a literal giant. So he and his tribe could obliterate any human resistance if they so chose to do so. His overall strength and size wasn't his best weapon though. His best weapon was his eyeball. His eyeball was said to be poisonous. If Baylor glared at anyone with this evil poisonous eyeball, then they would die right there and then. That is a pretty ridiculous power and kind of OP if you ask me. Now the good thing about this is that legends say Baylor was defeated by his grandson. There was basically a lot of drama and his grandson fought him and took him down. He was never actually killed though. Legend says that he slunk away to the sea and he still resides there to this day. Summoning this demon is clearly just a horrible idea. Not only would you die the second that you summoned him because his eye, but everyone around you would die pretty soon after that too. Just think about the damage a demon like this could cause in a big city. Like, we'd have no way of defending ourselves. Hopefully, my dude stays in the sea for good. Number 2 on this list is the Shadim. These were ancient demons associated with destruction and human sacrifice. The History Collection says, to the Mesopotamians, the Lamassu or the Shedu were powerful human-headed, eagle-winged guardian spirits of the home or the state. The Mesopotamians erected statues of these powerful entities who had the body of either a bull or lion at the gates of palaces or cities. There, they were well placed to ward off invading armies and ensure peace to those within the city walls. In ordinary households, images of the Shedu were carved on clay tablets and buried under the threshold to ensure peace and happiness within. When the Israelites encountered the Shedu, however, they interpreted them in a very different way. Some of them took up the Mesopotamian custom of worshipping them, hence disapproving references in the Old Testament to how such people sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Now, to the Jewish mainstream, the Shedu were false idols that possessed statues and masqueraded as gods. As such, they were evil, and so became the Shadim, demons associated with destruction, illness, and human sacrifice. So I guess if you were Mesopotamian, then you could summon these guys and it'd be all good, but if you're anyone else, probably not a good idea. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not trying to deal with a demon full of destruction and illness and just don't want to handle any of that. So no thank you, not trying to get sacrificed today. Number 1 on this list is Allah. So instead of reaching for a Nature Valley bar, this demon would grab the occasional child when she was hungry. Just great. The history collection says Allah is a female demon from Eastern Europe who, like many demons, seems to be derived from a belief in nature and weather spirits that could cause disaster and disease. Allah was believed to reside in clouds, lakes, and springs, or remote mountains or caves, or in large trees. When she visited humankind, she could take many forms. Allah could manifest as a vast black wind or a female dragon, a large-mouthed human, or a raven. She could even possess people. All or any of these relate to Allah's primary characteristic, all-consuming greed. If angered, the demon could manifest violent, thunderous hailstorms to destroy fields, vineyards, and orchards. However, it was equally likely she would satisfy her enormous appetite by devouring the produce herself. And when not over-consuming stolen grape or grain, Allah also liked to snack on her greed was so insatiable that she also periodically tried to eat the sun and the moon, therefore causing eclipses. So not only could you or your get eaten if you summon this thing, but you might also cause the entire world to end if this demon decides that she's hungry enough to chow down on the sun for good. Also, how big would this demon need to be if she was about to eat the entire sun? Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. Either way, never summon this demon because the human race could literally be at stake if you do.
Coming in at number 5, we've got Doris's demon. Damn, Doris, where'd you get this demon? There are all sorts of different accounts as to how this possession went down, but if you take Doris and her children at their word, it's hard to ignore what happened. Back in the early 1970s, the home of Doris Blyther came under attack by a plethora of ghosts and demons. This seemingly average house in Culver County, California suddenly teemed with paranormal events, many of which traumatized poor Doris. A single mother taking care of 4 kids, Doris was having a good deal of trouble on her own. Add in a history of abusive and violent relationships between Doris, her parents, and partners, and you can see how life might have been tough. Doris claimed that she was being assaulted by the ghosts in her house, and this was corroborated by one of her children. They could remember hearing their mother being attacked and violated by these spirits and didn't know what to do about it. The kids also remember being attacked by invisible presences, scratching, pulling, biting, and slapping. Skeptics looking into the case point to her history of abuse and alcoholism as major factors in these events, saying she likely wasn't being attacked by ghosts, but instead in some sort of terrible fugue state. But when a team of paranormal investigators came in, they found some strange and compelling evidence. Unexplainable bruising all over Doris's body, ghost orbs throughout the house, and other possibly paranormal activity made it seem as though there could be real demons hanging around. However, Doris and her family did eventually leave, apparently taking these demons with them. Subsequent residents in the house did not report any such activity, and Doris claimed that these presences actually followed her after she left. All of these events were drawn upon by author Frank de Folita, who wrote a book called The Entity, and this tome would later be used as the basis for a feature film of the same name. Now, get this. During the filming of the movie, a young actor fell and broke his arm. He was playing the part of one of Doris's sons who had broken his arm in a similar manner while living at the house. They claim they were thrown by some unseen entity, so maybe there's a connection here after all.
Number 4 on this list is the Yao Guai. Unless you want your literal life force to get eaten, I wouldn't summon these demons. History Collection says the Yao Guai, or strange ghosts or strange devils, were mythical Chinese demons who, like the Azura, desired immortality and godhood. They included in their number animal spirits such as the fox spirits and fallen celestial beings. However, even though they acquired their powers through the practice of Taoism, the Yao Guai cared little for the balance between light and dark. They were firmly on the dark side and would stop at nothing to achieve their goals of deification. They believed they could accomplish this goal by consuming the life force of holy men. One tale of the Yao Guai appears in the 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West. The story tells of the pursuit of the holy man Yao Xiang by Bei Guzhong, or White Bones Demon. However, unfortunately for Bei Guzhong, Yao Xiang was traveling in the company of Sun Wukong, or the Monkey King. The company first encountered the evil spirit disguised as a young girl searching for food. However, the Monkey King saw through the demon's disguise and drove it off with his staff. The Bei Guzhong tried again, firstly disguised as an old woman and finally as an old man. This final time, the Monkey King killed the demon, revealing its true form, a skeleton. Staffs, however, were not the only way to deal with these demons. As they lived in the underworld, the Chinese believed they were afraid of the light, so bonfires, fireworks, and torches were the perfect way to keep them at bay. So if you summon this thing, you may not even know that you have, because it could appear as something else entirely. So unless you have the awareness and power of the Monkey King, which, no offense, I kinda doubt you do, this demon will probably end up getting the better of you.
Coming in at number 3, we've got the Dybic. Recently, there's been a surprising amount of talk about Dybic boxes. For an ancient, cursed object, there sure is a lot of interest in 2021. A lot of this has to do with people supposedly purchasing mystery boxes off the dark web and then opening them on camera as a sort of spectacle. Of course, this has played up a fair bit to encourage plenty of views, so one can assume anything they're watching on the so-called dark web on YouTube is probably fake. But a recurring theme inside of these large mysterious crates is Dybic boxes, ancient wine boxes meant to seal away vicious and evil spirits. Of course, the best way to deal with something like that is just leave it well alone. Don't break the wax seal, but that's not going to consistently happen now, is it? They open the box, and 2012's Raimi produced The Possession and come face to face with a malevolent spirit that wants to possess a child. Once that thing is open, there is no going back. Apparently, after they wrapped shooting, a mysterious fire broke out in the prop warehouse, burning everything to the ground. Sheesh. You can also look to Post Malone's recent experience with a Dybic box at Zach Bagans' Paranormal Museum, where he claims he's been haunted ever since. With all the attention this demonic item has been getting recently, one has to wonder about the veracity of it all, but maybe don't try to find out for yourself. Coming to, we've got Beleth, the King of Cats. What a fantastic title for a demon to have, right? Folks who like to stay right up to date on horror programming might recognize that name. Recently featured in Netflix's Marianne, Beleth could be a lot of things. If we look to compendiums of demonology, Beleth is known as a fallen angel, one who leads 85 legions of demons and is a mighty and terrible king. When summoned, he's very angry, and if you show any fear, he'll never respect you again. The actual King of Cats bit doesn't seem to be mentioned anywhere outside of the Netflix series, but if we take these traits as true, he does seem very cat-like. Side note, a bottle of wine might mellow him into compliance, which is nice to know. But yeah, Beleth is supposedly a summonable demon, and one who could work with you if you play your cards right. But like with any demon, you've got to be careful, lest you give up your soul to this otherworldly entity. And coming in at number 1, we've got a haunted doll. And this time, it's not Annabelle. I just figure we've got a very complete knowledge of that tale from the Warren archives. This haunted doll made waves back in 2013 as it flew in the face of the idea that haunted dolls are ancient and made of cracked porcelain. Yep, this haunted doll was made in the image of the one and only Ice Queen, Elsa. A family decided it was time to get rid of the doll and tossed it. However, soon after, it reappeared within their home. It was programmed to sing bits of the song Let It Go, but eventually it stopped doing so and would only speak in Spanish. Understandably freaked out, the family once again attempted to rid themselves of the toy, but it came back again, this time appearing in the backyard. It's a determined little bugger, eh? These days, it's strapped to the front of a friend's truck and it hasn't found a way to escape yet. But we'll see how this demonic doll develops over time. Now that you're aware of these real demons, are you going to be living your life more carefully? Or does the presence of paranormal power encourage you to throw caution to the wind? Either way, it's always fun to learn more about this kind of thing.
Number 5 on this list is the reversed demon. This demon clearly took some gymnastic classes when they were alive as a person, because they're definitely flexing their flexibility muscles now in the demon afterlife. The clips that I'm about to show you were posted to the YouTube channel Kisa Weba. They were captured by a security camera and show a demon slowly crawling across the ground. So as we can see, that demon is just slowly meandering along, minding its own business. Now, you may think that this is the end of the story, but it's actually not, because that thing was caught on another security camera in the area a little bit later. Let's take a look at that. Now what on God's green earth is that freaking thing? I mean, it has to be a demon, right? Like, what the hell? Its face is clearly all white, completely inhuman. And now that we can fully see the way that it walks, we get a clear sense of how demonic it actually is. I think the biggest question that comes up through all of this, though, is what is it doing and where's it going? Fingers crossed that whatever it was doing doesn't concern any one of us.
Coming in at number 4, we've got the Changeling. There are many tales of demons and monsters throughout history. Folklore from all over features different entities meant to scare any who come across them. One particularly prevalent figure in such tales is that of the Changeling, an inhuman presence used to replace a human child. It's a very scary notion, don't you think? Your kid, who you're watching grow and change and become a fully developed person, gets replaced by something almost impossible to detect. What can you do at that point? This idea is explored in a bunch of different ways, from old fairy tales to particularly recent movies like The Hole in the Ground. But if we look back to the 80s, there's another tale of changelings that seems to be based on true events. A movie, The Changeling, was released and claimed to have been based on true events. Martin Scorsese lauded it as one of the scariest horror movies of all time. Russell Hunter, playwright and musician, had been living in the Henry Treat Rogers mansion in Denver, Colorado. While here, he discovered an abundance of creepy details. The cheap rent and exquisite architecture came at a cost, of course. During his stay, Hunter experienced plenty of paranormal happenings, from noises without obvious origin to poltergeist activity to, most interestingly, a secret room. Apparently, in this hidden chamber, Hunter found a diary penned by a young boy who was trapped there for an extended period of time. Through reading the diary and following some of the clues left behind, he ended up finding the remains of said young boy, who had seemingly been locked away by his parents. Tragic and terrifying for sure. Hunter then sought out a medium who came and investigated the mansion. Through this investigation, it was discovered that the spirit of the boy had remained in the house for almost a century and was behind much of the paranormal activity. Later, while the mansion was being bulldozed to make way for a high-rise, a bulldozer operator was killed in a freak accident. Could that have something to do with the mansion's history? Was the boy replaced by his family, doomed to rot within the walls of the mansion? Or was there a more supernatural replacement going on? Of course, the movie dramatizes a good deal of what happened, but the fact that it was based on the experiences of Hunter while he stayed at the mansion so rich in history is cause enough to be intrigued. He says that the hauntings did actually follow him even after the mansion was demolished.